Okay, so are you ready to dive into another World Cup match?
Absolutely, let's go.
All right, so we're looking at the opening match of the Women's T20 World Cup, South Africa versus the West Indies. And you have provided some really interesting commentary and stats for this match.
It's going to be exciting to break it all down.
Yeah, it's like we have front row seats to this match.
Absolutely.
Um, and today we're not just looking at the scoreboard, right? We're
Yeah.
really trying to understand like the strategies, the turning points that really decided the outcome of this match.
Yeah, sometimes it's those subtle decisions, those moments of brilliance that really make all the difference between winning and losing on a stage as big as the World Cup.
Right, and speaking of those big decisions, South Africa, led by Laura Wolvert, wins the toss and elects to field first.
Okay.
Now, you've highlighted this in your notes. Why is this decision significant?
Well, choosing to field first in T20 cricket, especially in Dubai, is often seen as a strategic advantage.
Interesting.
As the match progresses, the Dubai pitch tends to favor spin bowlers, and dew can make its appearance later in the evening, offering a slight advantage to the batters chasing a target.
Ah, so South Africa was really playing the odds right from the start.
They were thinking ahead, for sure.
But how did the West Indies, led by Haley Matthews, handle this pressure?
Um, the Windies actually had a bit of a shaky start, struggling to gain momentum against a very disciplined South African bowling attack.
And I think a lot of eyes were on Deandra Dotton making her comeback to international cricket after a 2-year break.
Absolutely. There was a real buzz around Dotton's return. Everyone was curious to see if she could pick up where she left off,
Right.
regain that form.
Yeah. But it seems like it wasn't the fairy tale return that everyone was hoping for.
Unfortunately not. While Doughton did manage to hit a couple of boundaries, her return innings was cut short when she was caught by Wolvart off caps bowling for 13 runs.
That's got to be tough,
Mm.
for a batter finding their feet again on the international stage.
Yeah.
But someone who seemed to be in top form was South African bowler Nonkuluko Malaba.
Yeah.
The commentary that you've shared calls her performance mesmerizing and talks about how she spun a web around the Windies batters.
Yeah, and that's not an exaggeration at all. Malaba was the standout performer for South Africa, claiming 4 crucial wickets for just 29 runs.
4 wickets. That's a game changer, especially in T20s. What made her bowling so effective against a team with hard hitters like the West Indies?
Well, you see, Malaba, she consistently targeted the stumps, forcing the batters to play straight and really limiting their scoring opportunities.
Right.
This accuracy, combined with her ability to extract just enough turn from the Dubai pitch, made her incredibly difficult to play against.
And it's that pressure that she was creating, right?
Absolutely.
Because even when a batter survives a few deliveries, that constant threat can really get into their heads.
Exactly. It disrupts their timing, it
Yeah.
forces them to second guess themselves and often leads to errors, as we saw with a few of the West Indies batters.
And it sounds like Malaba had the Windies exactly where she wanted them.
She was in control.
But the West Indies did have Stephanie Taylor putting up a fight.
Yes.
Her experience must have been invaluable for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Taylor, as captain, showed great composure and determination, crafting a well-fought 44 runs. Now, batting in the middle order during a T20 match is a real challenge.
Yeah.
Especially when your team is struggling, you're constantly under pressure to score quickly, and Taylor absorbed that pressure, rotating the strike, keeping the scoreboard ticking over.
It's that experience and resilience that younger players can really learn from.
Right.
But even with Taylor's grit, the West Indies finished their innings with a score of 118 for 6. Not an easy target to defend, especially in T20 cricket.
Not at all.
But chasing in a high-pressure tournament opener that can bring its own kind of pressure, right? Did the South African batters handle those expectations, or did the pressure get to them?
Well, let's just say South Africa made that chase look like a walk in the park.
Isn't that every cricket commentator's favorite phrase? Tell me more about this walk in the park.
It was a clinical display of power hitting and controlled aggression from the South African opening pair, Tasman Brits and Laura Wolfart.
Their partnership seemed almost telepathic at times. They were in complete sync, rotating the strike effortlessly and finding the boundaries at will.
They certainly made it look easy. Brits and Wolfart both scored half-centuries, completely dominating the West Indian bowling attack.
And that's the beauty of a strong opening partnership in a run chase, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It takes the pressure off the rest of the batting lineup and puts the opposition on the back foot right from the first over.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what South Africa did so effectively in this match. They built a solid platform and never really looked troubled.
Yeah, Brits finished with a well-deserved 56 runs, while Wolvart anchored the innings with a composed 55, steering South Africa to a comfortable 10-wicket victory.
Yes.
But even though the scorecard paints a picture of a one-sided affair, there were some really fascinating tactical nuances and turning points throughout this match that I want to delve into further.
Sure.
Are you ready to get into the weeds a bit?
Absolutely, because it's often those seemingly small details that reveal the real story behind a victory.
Okay, then let's talk about the power of spin bowling, because it played a massive role in this match, didn't it?
It certainly did, and it's something we highlighted beforehand given the conditions in Dubai.
Wow.
As the match progressed, that pitch was a spinner's paradise.
And nobody exploited that better than our player of the match, Nunkaluda Malaba. But what I found really interesting was that it wasn't just Malaba's bowling that was so impressive. It was South Africa's fielding as a unit.
Right?
They were electric in the field. And I specifically remember reading about one catch, a real screamer.
Yeah,
You're talking about that catch by Tasman Brits to dismiss Aaliyah Allen?
that was a game changer.
Tell me about it.
It was during Malaba's spell, Allen tried to clear the infield, but Brits at cover timed her jump to perfection, taking a one-handed blinder.
And the way she held on to it, talk about taking the pressure.
Absolutely.
That catch really shifted the momentum in South Africa's favor even further and highlighted just how crucial fielding can be in this format of the game.
Absolutely. It's not just about saving runs, it's about building pressure, creating momentum, injecting energy into your team. And on the flip side, a dropped catch or a misfield can completely change the complexion of a match.
It's almost like a psychological blow, isn't it?
Yeah.
1 minute you're on top and the next the momentum is shifted and you're playing catch up.
Yeah, you're right.
And speaking of the mental side of the game, I think this match really highlighted the importance of mental toughness, especially in a high-stakes tournament like the World Cup.
Sure.
We saw South Africa thrive under pressure, while the West Indies at times seemed to crumble.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like pressure can either make or break a team, and in this match, it felt like South Africa used that pressure to their advantage,
Right.
almost like they were feeding off of it.
Yeah, that's a great observation. And it often comes down to experience, South Africa has a team with seasoned campaigners who've been in these pressure cooker situations before.
Yeah.
They know how to stay calm, make smart decisions, and execute their skills under pressure.
Right.
On the other hand, the West Indies, while a talented team, are relatively inexperienced on the big stage, and I think it showed in key moments.
And that seems to be a theme that you've highlighted in your analysis, this importance of big match temperament.
Absolutely.
It's almost like a hidden skill, isn't it?
Yeah,
You can have all the talent in the world, but if you can't handle the pressure of a World Cup match, it's going to show.
absolutely. It's that ability to block out the noise, focus on the task at hand, and perform to the best of your ability when the stakes are highest.
Right.
And that's something that can often make the difference between a good team and a championship-winning team.
So zooming out a bit, what does this victory say about South Africa's prospects in this tournament? They came in as one of the favorites, and after this performance, they've certainly lived up to the hype.
Oh, they've thrown down the gauntlet, that's for sure. This wasn't just a win, this was a statement of intent.
Yeah.
South Africa showcased their strengths, a potent batting lineup, a disciplined bowling attack, and an electric fielding unit.
Right.
They have all the ingredients to go all the way.
It's exciting to watch a team firing on all cylinders like that. But what about the West Indies?
Yeah.
They're now 0-1 down in the tournament.
Right.
Where do they go from here?
Well, they have some soul-searching to do, no doubt.
Yeah.
This match exposed some areas they need to address, particularly their middle-order batting and their ability to handle those pressure situations.
Right.
You have two options. Okay.
They can either dwell on this loss
Right.
and let it affect their confidence,
Right.
or they can use it as a learning experience, regroup, and come back stronger in their next match.
It's all about how they bounce back, isn't it? Because let's be honest, in T20 cricket, anything can happen.
Oh, absolutely.
We've seen upsets before, and we'll see them again.
That's the beauty of this format. It's unpredictable.
Yeah.
It's fast-paced.
Right.
It's full of surprises.
Yeah.
1 minute, you can be in complete control, and the next, the match has been flipped on its head.
And that's what makes this World Cup so captivating.
Absolutely.
We have a tournament filled with talented teams, all capable of beating each other on their day.
Right.
But as we've seen from this opening match, it's often the team that can handle the pressure, stay calm in the big moments, and execute their skills under duress that will come out on top. And that's what we'll be looking for as the tournament progresses. Those teams that can maintain their composure, adapt to the conditions, and seize those crucial moments.
It's like a game of chess, isn't it? Each decision, each run saved can have a ripple effect on the outcome of the match.
Exactly. And that strategic battle, that mental tug of war, is what makes cricket, and especially T20 cricket, such a fascinating sport to follow.
And speaking of fascinating, this opening match really got me thinking about that question we posed at the beginning.
Yeah.
In a high-pressure, high-stakes tournament, like the World Cup does, experience handling pressure actually outweigh raw talent.
It's a question that's been debated for as long as sports have existed.
Right. And while there's no easy answer, I think this match gave us some food for thought, wouldn't you say?
Excellent.
We saw South Africa, a team with a blend of experience and youthful exuberance, handle the pressure beautifully. They weren't fazed by the occasion. They stuck to their game plan, and they played with a sense of freedom and confidence that was contagious.
It was a joy to watch, and it reminded us that while experience is invaluable,
Yeah.
it's not the only factor that determines success in these tournaments.
Exactly, because sometimes that raw talent, that fearlessness of youth, can be just as effective, especially in a format as fast-paced and unpredictable as T20 cricket.
Absolutely. And it's those young players unburdened by past experiences or the weight of expectations
Right.
who can often produce moments of brilliance that can change the course of a match. They play with an instinct and a freedom that can be truly exhilarating to watch.
So while this opening match might have showcased the importance of experience in handling pressure, I have a feeling this tournament will also be defined by moments of individual brilliance and upsets that defy logic and expectation.
I completely agree, and that's what makes the T20 World Cup such a compelling spectacle.
Yeah,
The perfect blend of strategy skill and that unpredictable element of surprise.
it's going to be really interesting to see how this tournament unfolds. We've got those established powerhouses, but then there are those dark horses, right?
Absolutely.
Those teams that might just have that perfect blend of experience, young talent, and fearlessness to really cause some upsets.
And don't forget about the conditions.
Right.
Dubai's pitches, and that potential for dew to play a factor could throw a wrench into even the most well-crafted game plans.
Right. Every match becomes this tactical puzzle. Which makes me think back to that final thought you wanted to leave our listener with.
Okay.
That question about whether experience trumps raw talent in these high-pressure scenarios.
All right.
Something for all of us to consider as we watch this tournament unfold.
Yeah, it's the age-old debate, isn't it?
Right.
Do you bet on the seasoned veteran who's seen it all and knows how to handle the pressure cooker of a World Cup? Or do you put your faith in the fearless newcomer who's ready to take the world by storm?
Right. It's almost like choosing between a well-worn playbook and a blank canvas,
That's a great way to put it.
each with its own allure. But maybe the real magic happens when you find that sweet spot.
Yeah.
A team that blends the wisdom of experience with the audacity of youth.
Absolutely. A team that respects the traditions of the game but isn't afraid to rewrite the rules.
And who knows, maybe this year we'll witness the rise of a team that embodies that perfect balance, defying expectations and etching their names in World Cup history.
Now, wouldn't that be a story to tell?
Absolutely. So to our listeners out there, keep an eye out for those underdog stories, those unexpected heroes, and those moments of brilliance that remind us why we love this sport.
I agree.
Because in the world of T20 cricket, anything is possible.
It's a game of constant evolution where adaptability and a touch of fearlessness can make all the difference.
This has been an incredible deep dive, and I have a feeling this is just the beginning of an unforgettable tournament. Thanks for joining us, and to our listeners, keep those cricket brains engaged. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into the world of sports.